Most people think that Stoicism is meant for masculine men only, but that is not true. This misconception undermines the true power and applicability of this ancient philosophy. Stoicism teaches truth, and everyone needs to know the truth despite their gender. Men are not the only ones that need to abide by the teachings of the Stoics. In fact, women need Stoicism way more than men, and you're going to find out why in a moment. But before we get into details, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification bell to get alerted anytime we post amazing videos like this. Without further delay, here are 5 reasons women need Stoicism more than men. 1. Overcoming gender bias. Women continue to face unconscious biases, such as prescriptive stereotypes dictating how they should behave, descriptive stereotypes coloring perceptions of their abilities, affinity bias towards mentoring and networking with other men, and leniency bias that judges women more harshly for mistakes. This gender bias permeates many facets of life. For instance, in academics, implicit bias means women have to work harder for recognition and promotion. Female scientists contend with biased funding decisions, being judged as less competent and having authorship credit diluted. Gender norms lead to philosophy syllabi dominated by historical male thinkers. Subtle discrimination accumulates over decades, determining who advances and whose work is remembered. Professionally, gender bias impacts hiring, performance reviews, leadership opportunities, negotiations, and compensation. Compared to equivalent men, women get less mentorship and sponsorship rising up the ranks. They have to provide more evidence of competence and walk a tightrope between being viewed as too soft or too aggressive. Promising young women lawyers leave major firms due to inhospitable environments. Politically, female candidates face stereotypes about emotional volatility or weakness on security issues. They have their likability and electability questioned more than their male counterparts, regardless of credentials. Targeted gender disinformation and harassment take a disproportionate toll. Progress stalls towards equal representation in parliaments and executive offices. By practicing Stoic techniques, women can overcome the effects of gender bias. Negative visualization, imagining worst-case scenarios, helps prepare for and temper reactions to biased treatment. Adopting an objective, reasoned observer mindset facilitates processing bias when encountered. Affirming inner virtues, wisdom, and humanity builds resilience rather than tying self-worth to validation from others. Expending energy only on what can be controlled tunes out external hostility. Together, these Stoic perspectives and skills empower women to persist in pursuing academic and professional excellence, political leadership, and personal growth by overcoming gender barriers through self-regulation of thought. The Stoic focus on the equality of all human virtue makes it an apt philosophy for dismantling uneven gender norms. 2. Navigating societal expectations. Women face a complex web of societal expectations dictating how they should behave, prioritize their time, nurture relationships, balance family and career, and generally live their lives. Stoic philosophy offers tools to navigate these expectations with self-determination. In the personal realm, norms still pressure women to be primarily responsible for housework and childcare. Leisure time is regarded as selfish, while women who don't marry or have kids attract pity and assumptions. Practicing Stoic indifference helps women make personal decisions based on their own values rather than external conditioning. Professionally, assertive behavior considered confident in men gets labeled bossy or abrasive in women. Seeking power explicitly gets judged as off-putting, while success without niceness triggers dislike. Stoicism's emphasis on the development of character helps women define achievement on their own ethical terms. When it comes to finances, society expects husbands to be primary breadwinners and wives secondary earners. Women get questioned about giving up careers for family or face skepticism about pursuing intellectually demanding fields less lucrative than available alternatives. Adopting the Stoic view of preferred indifference guides women to determine their own worthy pursuits. Intellectually, stereotypical assumptions downplay women's interest and abilities in math, science, philosophy, and technology, while subtly discouraging girls from developing expertise in such fields from a young age. Practicing Stoic negative visualization expands imagined potential beyond socially constrained horizons. Rather than absorbing or being confined by external expectations, Stoic teachings persuade women to construct personal identities around their values and the wisdom of their practical judgment. Doing so allows navigation of socially imposed norms selectively rather than compliance by default. This empowers women with agency in determining the course of their lives. 3. Asserting personal boundaries. Oftentimes, women have difficulties asserting strong personal boundaries around how they are treated, how their time and energies are spent, what information they share publicly, and who has access to their bodies, thoughts, and emotions. Stoicism offers philosophical principles and practices to bolster women's sense of agency in setting clear boundaries. In social settings, women get pressed to be perpetually gentle, friendly, polite, and accommodating so as not to seem demanding or upsetting to others. Stoicism, however, stresses self-possession over obsessive people-pleasing. Tactful firmness, aligned with inner virtues, enables women to set collegial yet strict limits on their availability and openness. Physically, blame and doubt toward victims of harassment and assault burden women with proving continued worthiness of basic respect, dignity, and bodily autonomy. Stoicism focuses on control only over one's reasoned reactions, not external events, empowering women to call out boundary violations without internalizing culpability. Apart from that, women disproportionately face cyber harassment and stalking with attendant pressures to self-censor. But Stoic indifference to that beyond one's control helps women limit engagement with abusive online spaces, curtailing access to personal thoughts and movements. At home, women expend inordinate energy navigating other people's moods and needs, often at the expense of self-care. Stoic teachings question duty-bound sacrifice as virtuous, advising discernment of what is rationally in one's interest when setting reciprocal relational expectations. Romantically, norms of male pursuit and female compliance frequently obscure women's preferences. Stoic relationship ethics based on rational partnership over possessive love aid women in asserting their boundaries without forfeiting intimacy. Thus, Stoic perspectives resonantly align with women's rights movements in asserting bodily integrity and consent, prioritizing safety and freedom from violence, advancing reproductive autonomy and health, pursuing healthy work-life balance, and achieving financial independence. Asserting personal boundaries creates space for women's self-determination. 4. Balancing emotional labor. Women expend disproportionate amounts of unpaid emotional labor at home and work, supporting other people's needs and well-being over their own. Stoicism offers a lens for recognizing and balancing this gender dynamic of emotional management. At home, women have to anticipate the mood of family members, their needs, and reactions, taking on planning, nurturing, and peacekeeping to facilitate home functioning. Mothers especially calmly regulate children's emotions to foster healthy development. Particularly when also working, this constitutes a second shift. Stoicism frames emotions as judgments, not involuntary forces, empowering women to detach from absorbing responsibility for other people's feelings. In the office, female managers get stereotyped as more relationship-oriented, such that colleagues bring them social complaints and requests unrelated to work. Gender norms expect women to provide compassion, praise, empathy, and community building, or else face backlash for being cold. Stoicism's applicability to public affairs enables leaders to distinguish professional objectives from emotion-laden dynamics. Interpersonally, friends and partners unload onto women, exploiting false assumptions of superior listening and counseling abilities. Women get informally assigned supporting emotional roles men avoid to focus on real work. Internalizing Stoicism's distinction between virtue and indifference assists women in setting boundaries around conversational priorities and reciprocity. But it doesn't stop there. Medically, when a female patient reports pain and symptoms, they are dismissed or psychologized more readily than men. Women get labeled as irrational, anxious, or hysterical by healthcare providers at their own expense. Adopting Stoic mindfulness about judgments versus facts and observations supports women advocating for their health. Basically, these inequalities tax women's time, energy, and well-being. Practicing Stoic logic, ethics, and emotional regulation helps women balance expending effort on other people's needs with self-care. By focusing only on what is within their control, women can work to shift gendered emotional labor expectations. 5. Embracing authentic leadership. Female leaders face steep barriers and double standards with little room for error impeding their ability to rise or wield power on their own terms. Practicing Stoic teachings helps women respond to leadership challenges with wisdom, virtue, and authenticity. When seeking executive roles, women get labeled as undesirably ambitious or harsh, while assertive leadership earns accusations of abrasiveness. Stoicism guides leaders to define success by their own moral excellence rather than external validation. Its egalitarian vision of shared human potential facilitates women embracing power. Once in office, female politicians and heads of state suffer disproportionate criticism for weakness, instability, and poor decisions, critiques rarely foisted on male counterparts. Stoic principles of emotional regulation, negative visualization, and focusing only on what is in one's control assist women leaders in maintaining confident command. Across sectors, women get promoted based on performance and then scrutinized for leadership capabilities despite extensive qualifications. Doubts over external crises or high-pressure decision-making dog women. Epictetus' leadership maxims to lead by example with integrity supports female executives relying on capability and values. In startup businesses or companies, female CEOs struggle for funding and credibility because they're downplayed as inexperienced or lacking qualifications possessed by financed male peers. Stoicism's emphasis on wisdom and contribution over fame, finances, helps women technology leaders persevere through discounted business models. This greater hostility aimed at women daring to pursue power renders it both more difficult to obtain and exercise non-traditionally. But Stoic teachings help female leaders define excellence, effectiveness, and purpose on their own terms to authentically thrive. Its reason over convention empowers women to disrupt the status quo, keeping them from participating equally in guiding humanity's future. Conclusion: Stoicism teaches us to become better informed individuals who know and value our worth. Its teachings and rules are not designed for men only. Women, too, need the guidance of Stoic principles to help them understand their purpose and navigate their lives with poise. The teachings of ancient philosophers act as a beacon through the stormy waters of modern society. So it doesn't matter who you are or what your gender is, Stoicism can guide you to become the best version of yourself. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to this channel to get more amazing content. See you in the next video.